Remember, please, ladies and gentlemen, state your name and affiliation. We'll pass a microphone around for Coach Bud. Questions, please?
I'd just like to say first, I think the defense and the togetherness tonight as we worked our way through the game, and again, the third quarter, it stood out to me that we could get stops and we could get out and go. And guys coming in off the bench, and George Hill and Pat Connaughton, just fabulous tonight. So, the spirit of the group's in a good place, and now the challenge is to keep it there and get ready, I guess, for a couple days from now.
Mark James, NESN, WEI. What's been the difference after game one? What was the adjustments that you've made? Because clearly these last two games, everything, the momentum of the series has swung back to you guys.
I just like our activity. I like the way we're scrambling and covering for each other. And then I think we're playing similarly offensively. We're playing with a lot of force, guys attacking, guys sharing the ball. I just think, game one, give credit to Boston. They were really good. They did a lot of things to put us, where we knew we had to be better. And we're going to have to be better again in game four. But I think the activity of the group's just been the difference.
Coach Greg Matzik from WTMJ. Can you expound on what you saw from Pat in that second quarter to make things really tight at the half?
Yeah, that was a big stretch of the game. I think we were down 12 at one point in the second quarter, and he hit a quarter. I know he had the offensive rebound put back. He's been doing it for us all year. He's been a great contributor in so many different ways, and lots of times I think his shot blocking as a guard has been outstanding, and tonight he's making shots. It was a critical stage. We were not very good there for a while, and he kept us afloat, he and George.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Just obviously Giannis's ability to get to the hoop, to score in the paint, to get to the free throw line was a big part of this game. What did you see from him in the way that he managed his physicality and aggressiveness and was able to channel it into productivity?
Yeah, I think he just stayed aggressive the whole game. I think he had the right mindset from the start to the end. He's constantly putting pressure on the basket, and I think making reads and decisions. He's just such a force, and he can get through cracks, and I think he's going to finish or get to the free throw line a lot if he keeps playing like this.
Eric Name, The Athletic. We've talked all year about George and being aggressive and how often you tell him that. Just what did it mean to you to kind of see him put it together in that way in this game with 21 points?
Yeah, no, it's a recurring theme for, I guess, as long as I've known George. The more aggressive he is, the better he is. I think, his teammates all, in the locker room are, very happy for him. And as coaches, just to keep pushing him and let him know, he's got to be aggressive. He's better. His teammates are better when he plays that way. It's always been the case. And, he's a veteran. He's been in these situations before. He understands it, and it shows.
John Corrales, MassLive.com. You guys survived giving up a lot of corner threes in your attempts to defend the rim on their drives. What is it philosophically that allows you to weather a team that takes a lot of threes? What is it about your defense that focus on defending the rim allows you to survive that many threes, especially the corner threes?
Well, they shot the ball really well tonight. In a perfect world, we wouldn't give up corner threes, and we wouldn't give up threes in general. But, I think since we've just decided that, we want to be more aggressive in all areas, and we want to cover for each other, and, hopefully corner threes. But, Jaylen Brown shot it well in the first half. Ojale made some corner threes. And, sometimes you have to pick your poison when they've got Hayward and Irving and Tatum and, Horford doing their things. It's hard to guard everybody, so we'll keep working to get better at it.
Steve Ashburn, NBA.com. There was about a 3.5-minute stretch late where you're trying to close out the game, and you're sending guy after guy to the foul line. I'm wondering what was going on then, from what you saw, and what was going on in your mind at that point.
We'll save it for film tomorrow. It's not very smart. It's not very good. It's the great thing for coaches. The players are probably, we'll find more things where we can get better, and you just touched on one of them for sure.
Hey, Coach. It's Tom Museals, WGBH News over here. Hi. There was a stretch just under 2 minutes in the third quarter where you went from being tied to being up 11. What did you see that was working on that stretch, and what did that mean for the team?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that happen in a game. I felt like it's usually our defense, steps up. Hopefully just, the entirety of the quarter, we just keep working. And I felt like we got some stops. And then, I thought Giannis made a couple great decisions. We got some corner threes in transition. But it always starts with getting stops, and then we can kind of play our game. Great, thanks. Oh.
Malika Andrews, ESPN. But I'm just curious, when you're going back to what you're saying about George, how much of him being able to put together that sort of performance on the road in a game 3, do you think is a product of him having been here before, having been in those similar situations?
Yeah, it's hard to kind of quantify what experience means and different players but to me, it's been clear that George's experience with several great organizations, great teams, great coaches, and playing in a ton of big games. Even as poorly as we were in Game 1, I think George was one of the guys that played, and he's just continued that. And now on the road in this environment, I think that's when coaches and organizations talk about needing guys that have experience, that have been there, that understand what it takes. George Hill and his performance tonight is a prime example of that.
I guess these are the type of games where you think of a superstar needing to step up. I'm just curious what you thought of Giannis's aggression and kind of the way that he kind of put his stamp on that game from really the first couple of drives.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I thought his aggressiveness was exactly where it needed to be from the start to the end. And a couple of his passes stand out to me too. It's what he's been doing a ton for us all year. And, we've been saying the message to him and the message to the team. It's not any different. It may get harder, but that's when we just have to take our attention to detail and things we've been doing and hopefully doing better. And Giannis certainly has done that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Y'all know who I am. I'm not who I used to be. I know it wasn't in my plans, but it panned out and it's cool to me. Spent all my time trying to be the man, but didn't want to grow like Peter Pan. Once upon a time I was doing bad, now I'm on something new, hope you understand. Sitting on top undefeated, any obstacle I'ma beat it, any opposition I'ma beat them. Victory is all I...
Questions for Coach Stevens, please. John in the front row.
John Corrales, MassLive.com here. In the third quarter, when things started to get out of control for you, did you think the guys lost focus because of the officiating?
It's a good question. I don't know that that would be the case. I just think that ultimately they made a lot of plays in that quarter. We didn't. I thought we got a little deep on the drive, whereas in the first half I thought we were doing a really good job of getting to the right depth and then making the next right play. We turned it over a few times. They got going in transition. They get going downhill. We weren't quite as tight as we like to be as loading up to the ball and making it tough to get downhill and keeping them off the foul line. So, if there's anything, it's just stuff we have to do better.
Mark James, Nesson, WEI. Specifically, the Jaylen Brown fifth foul call. You were extremely upset about that, so was he. And they showed it up on the replay, clearly not a foul. And it seemed to be something that throughout the third quarter into the fourth quarter. Did you feel like the officiating was working against you at that time?
I don't complain about officials. We got a lot of stuff we have to do behind on us and the controllables, and that's the bottom line.
Coach Bob Schramm, the Citizen, but not officiating at all. But Jaylen had 5, and Marcus, you were juggling. How hard was it to juggle your substitution with countering that foul?
Yeah,
trouble?
I mean, I wasn't as worried probably about the foul trouble. It was just finding the right group. And when things went south, we had a lot of our guys that play a lot on the court, and so you knew we had to go to the bench a little bit. But credit the Bucks. They did a lot of good things. We'll go back and look at how we can improve off that. This thing is going to be every minute of every game against these guys is really hard. This is a heck of a team, and I thought in those moments again their physicality to the rim kind of separated the game, and then on the other end again I just thought we got a little deep in some of our drives.
Eric named The Athletic. Brad, this whole series you've talked about loading up on Giannis. That wall was nice and tight. What do you think was the difference tonight? I would say this is probably the most loose he's gotten. What would you kind of attribute that to defensively?
You're saying why wasn't it as tight? I thought that, for whatever reason, again, we were a little bit looser. Maybe it was because of the threes they hit last game. That was not a plan of attack. We just wanted to be tight, protect the paint first, then get out. But, they go 15 of 37 again. So it's easier said than done when they shoot threes this way. This is the challenge of this team is the elite drivers in Bledsoe and Giannis that can get anywhere on one-on-one scenarios. You have to provide some sort of help, and when you do, they pick you apart. The play that stands out most vividly is Giannis is at the top of the key and just flings it to the corner. And, he throws it through defenders or through where we could be a little bit more active. But if you're not on your toes, they're going to take advantage of you. And they did that. They got big, tall guys shooting. And so they're hard to contest anyways. But if you're not in the ballpark, you're in trouble.
Gary?
Brad, Gary Washington, Boston Globe. How much did putting them in the bonus with 8 minutes left in the third quarter affect your defense, your physicality, all of the above in terms of how you could defend?
Yeah, we have to do a better job of not being in the bonus. That's certainly a big deal. I think that, but then, that you're thinking about that because you want to be solid without fouling. You don't want to send guys to the line. At the same time, you've got to provide resistance. It's easier said than done to balance that when you're already in the bonus.
Chris Gasper, Boston Globe. Brad, when you look at the third quarter, did you feel that your ball movement and the lead diminished sort of in equal measure there?
Yeah. I felt like we were maybe a drive or two too low on the court, and that's maybe not the case the whole time. But they upped their pressure, and hey, like even when they got in switches with Lopez, he did a great job. He did a great job keeping our guards in front and making it tough, and that's something that he's added to his game. In the past, I think it's one of those things where he avoids switching more than not, and he did for the most part. But then when they had to do it, he did a great job of it, and so credit them for that. We got to be better. They're a hard team to score on. They're a hard team to play against. That's good. They're a good team. We just have to be better, give ourselves a chance.
Final two questions. Tim first.
Brad, just curious what the decision was to go away from Baines today. I know you played Tyson and Shemi a bunch. And then what did you see from Hayward throughout the game?
Well, I think it's tough. If he's not going to guard Giannis, he's going to guard a three-point shooter, and that's difficult. But, we may have to go back with that just because he provides a little bit more protection in the paint, and he'll take a charge off the ball, which I think is important. What was your second question, Tim? I'm sorry. Yeah, obviously struggled to make shots, made some plays. From our offense contributed to our defensive issues in the third quarter, as Chris alluded to.
Thank you, Coach.
Ball hard on the court, boy. Ball hard on the court. Switch it up, pass, pass. Cross 'em up, fast, fast. Ball hard on the court, boy. Ball hard on the court. Switch it up, pass, pass. Cross 'em up, fast. MJ with the ball, temp fade. Been made since the old days, so paid. LJ call him King James. 6 rings, ball hard in the paint, thanks. What a gratitude, young black man with an attitude. So focused, you probably think that I'm mad at you. Gotta get that check on the sex like flex, make the girl say yes. What you mean? I just put some magic on the dream. Clean, do it for the team, Billie Jean. Sammy saying tall like y'all mean. Crowd scene, thanks for the doubting. Ball hard on the court, boy. Ball hard on the court. Switch it up, pass, pass. Cross 'em up, fast, fast. Ball hard on the court, boy. Ball hard on the court. Switch it up, pass, pass. Cross 'em up, fast. Lightning, I move smooth as Tai Chi. Never gave two what if they like me. Entice D, bet I bubble like Sprite B. And when it comes to the feet, it's not likely. Street cred, plus I run the court 6 legs. Y'all just creep, no 6 leg. Paint a picture for your head, top ball till I'm dead drop. Shoot threes from the grave, no the game don't stop. Coach put me in, no I can't just watch. No, bitch warmers or ball hoarders in my corner. My legacy lives on like a heart donor. Transplant, I ain't talking about your hairline. If it's J's on my feet, then it's airtime. Snare chime, words for weapons, well let me add mine. Chop it sound, drop it down, bear climb, gone. Ball hard on the court, boy. Ball hard on the court. Switch it up, pass, pass. Cross 'em up, fast, fast. Ball hard on the court, boy. Ball hard on the court. Switch it up, pass, pass. Cross 'em up, fast.
Yeah. Real love, something I've been trying to find. Where you been? Got here just in time. I think there's something I've been waiting for. I've been asking if it's something that I'm ready for. I was out looking for love in a trash can. I always thought there was nobody out there. Then I found you and you put me in the zone. When I'm with you, I feel like I be in my zone. When I'm sleeping, love is all I can dream of. When you leave me, baby, it's all that I can think of. Can't nothing come in between us but the road. I can't help it that we connected at the soul. Show me how to love, how you do that. It's my heart, better watch the way you shoot it. When I'm with you, I feel like I be in the zone. When I'm with you, I feel like I be in my zone. When I'm with you, I feel like I be in my zone. When I'm with you, I feel like I be in my zone. This time last year, used to hate love. Been through so much, almost gave up. Every time I felt like it was something missing. Then I met you, then you showed me something different. Heart on lockdown, but letting no one in. I was shutting people down before they even begin. Can't imagine me living my life without you. Had to sit down and write me a song about you. Lost my mind to describe what it feel like. If a bird lost its wing, but it still flies. You the one, help me realize. Love really do exist in the real life. Love really do exist in the real life. Real life, real life. When I'm sleeping, love is all I can dream of. When you leave me, baby, it's all that I can think of. Can't nothing come in between us but the road. I can't help it that we connected at the soul. Show me how to love, how you do that. It's my with you, I feel like I be in my zone. When I'm with you, I feel like I be in my zone.
Y'all know who I am. I'm not who I used to be. I know it wasn't in my plans, but it panned out and it's cool to me. Spent all my time trying to be the man, but didn't want to grow like Peter Pan. Once upon a time I was doing bad, now I'm on something new, hope you understand. Sitting on top undefeated, any obstacle I'ma beat it. Any opposition I'ma beat them. Victory is all I see in. Cause losing is never an option, it's never an option, no. I see you over there plotting, you think you gon' prosper, no.
I refuse to lose, I'm born to win. I refuse to lose, I'm going in. I refuse to lose, I'm born to win. I refuse to lose, I'm going in.
Sick of losing, I was born to win. A new man like I'm born again. This time around, man, I'm going in. They gave me the ball, I'm not losing it. You devils can take all these L's back. Moving forward, never looking back. Refuse to take any more losses. No misfortunes, just endorsements. Operate at peak performance. Squad behind me, reinforcements. All I think about is scoring. Hear 'em roaring, crowd applauding. Cause losing is never an option, it's never an option, no. I see you over there plotting, you think you gon' prosper, no.
I refuse to lose, I'm born to win. I refuse to lose, I'm going in. I refuse to lose, I'm born to win. I refuse to lose, I'm going in.
Questions for Kyrie, please. Front row, John.
John Corrales, MassLive.com. Kyrie, what was the cause of the that third quarter run? Did you feel like you guys may have gotten caught up in some of the calls that were going against you?
I mean, it's inevitable, you know. I mean, guy comes down, almost goes. You know, what are you really going to do? It's slowing the game down. So the run that you would hope to make and
Chris?
Chris Gasper, Boston Globe. You know, Mike Budenholzer was in here and he said, you know, the spirit of our group is good. The challenge is to keep it there. What's the spirit of your group at this time, and what's the challenge?
I mean, we have another chance to respond at home. You know, they took care of business. The third quarter is really where they made their mark on the game, and you got to give credit. George Hill was the X factor tonight, having 21 off the bench, going 9 for 12. You know, we just have to do a better job of limiting that. I think that we did a great job of starting off the game really well, going into halftime. You know, obviously ending the half in a fashion that probably wasn't our best, and then coming out in that third quarter giving up 40 points. You know, that's not a characteristic we want to carry over into the next game, and we'll be better. We'll need a little bit more from our bench, a little bit more consistency from me going to the basket, especially as well as at the three-point line. And hopefully we can even out the free throws, not just in the fourth.
Mark James, Nesson, WEI. Kyrie, you've been involved in a lot of playoff games, especially NBA Finals. Have you ever personally been involved where the officiating's been so poor on one side?
I mean, hey, the refs have a difficult job. We have a difficult job. Obviously, I could consider. We know the disparity and what it is, but I'm not going to put all the emphasis on the refereeing. I think that there are a lot of controllable things on our end that we can be better at. You know, obviously the officiating is going to be part of it. Hopefully you can, you know, you wish that things can go your way, but they don't, and we have to be able to respond in a better, you know, a better circumstance. We just got to respond better, and I think that we will do that going into Game 4. I'm confident in this group. I'm confident in the talent that we have here, and as well as the basketball IQ. We just have to bring it to another level of being in the right spots and really focusing on where we could take advantage on their defensive miscues. You know, they turn their heads on plays where guys are driving to the basket. They still have the same frantic defense. They've made adjustments, and now we go back and watch film of where, you know, instances in the game where we can control. We just have to do better.
Gary?
Kyrie, Gary Walsh from Boston Globe. One, when you put him in the bonus with 8 minutes left in the third quarter, how does that affect your defense, your mentality when you know any kind of physical contact? And secondly, how do you guys not lose control like you did in that third quarter, and it seemed like the officiating became the dominant theme?
Yeah, like I said, it's difficult, but it's something that we can manage. And when it does happen at that point in the game, we just got to collect ourselves and be ready to move on to the next play. Obviously, we know how many free throws he shot a game. You know, he's a great player in our league. We know how many times he goes to the baskets and get contact. But we also understand how many times we go to the basket and get contact. And it's a playoff game, and guys are playing very aggressive. And when you get into the bonus with 8 minutes left to go in the third, it's definitely a shocker. You know, it'll definitely put something in your mind where you don't want to touch anyone. And you know, they shot free throws, and like I said, in any instance in a game like that, when you go into the bonus early on, it slows the game down. And then they're making runs, they're making threes down the stretch. Then we start pulling in even more on Giannis. We put an emphasis on stopping their guys, and that was the primary thing that happened in the third quarter. As I look at the score, at the box score, you know, I thought that some of the numbers were going to shoot, you know, spark. They were going to come off the page, and the only thing that comes off the page is that third quarter and 22 free throws. Like I said, there are some things that we obviously can control, but the officiating, we're going to leave them alone next game. We're going to do a better job of walling up, better job of staying straight up, make sure that there aren't any, you know, just eye-catching calls. We're just going to make sure we stay solid. I'm going to make sure I communicate with our guys that, hey, if this is the way we're going to play, we're not going to adjust to them. We're going to make them adjust to us.
Hey, Kyrie. This is Jason Chen from Tencent Sports. You guys, the Bucks scored 52 points in the paint, and I mean, is this like normal? I mean, like how you guys prepare to guard them like in the paint next game?
Well, I'm living with that. I'm living with that. You know, we can manage the game a lot better when we're giving up twos rather than threes. Obviously, game 2 was a completely different shot chart for them. And we'll go back and like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it. We're gonna watch where we can see where we can control and manage the game better. But 52 in the paints doesn't shock me. They've done it all season. It's just when those other guys are getting timely threes and then they're throwing it down in the post with Chris Middleton, or they're making threes off our overhelp. So we'll do a better job of walling up and guarding Giannis better, guarding Chris better, and as well as limiting those other guys to, you know, Connaughton had 14 points, 5 for 11, 4 for 9 from the three-point line. George was 9 for 12 for 21 points. Those are big points in the game, especially in the playoff series where, you know, you want to limit guys from getting going. So those are things that we'll put an emphasis on and move on to the next game.
Final 2 questions, Mark.
Kyrie, Mark D'Amico, Celtics.com on your left. You spoke earlier about how you want to get downhill and create at the basket. Can you just speak to nothing to do with the refs, but what are the challenges of scoring in the paint against this team in particular, and how can you guys create more offense in that area moving forward?
I have to be more efficient. I got to be more efficient, especially when I'm getting downhill in those switches. I got to punish those guys, and that's as simple as that. I got to do what I'm really great at, and that's getting downhill and making plays and getting to the rim and dishing out. But when I get a big on me and I see those guys with slow feet, I got to go right at them.
Last question, Jared.
Kyrie, Jared Weiss from The Athletic Boston. I know you have like a great floater game and you're able to kind of score pretty much anywhere in the paint, but when you have that kind of back and forth going to the line, do you feel like you need to initiate that contact or really seek that contact and try to get that free throw battle going?
Man, I just got to keep my eyes on the rim and just be efficient in that paint area. You know, I wish that I could have probably a more elaborate answer for you of what I got to do around that paint and my floater game and what I'm great at, but it's really just about being efficient, especially the rest of the series. You know, from this point on, I don't think you'll see another 8 for 22, you know, or any missed layups or looking for the refs for calls or anything like that. It's just who's going to outscore the other team and who's going to be better efficient at it. But when I do get in there, I'm looking to score, and I'm contact whether the refs call it or not.
Thank you, Kyrie.
Thank you.
Ball hard on the court, boy. Ball hard on the court. Switch it up, pass, pass. Cross 'em up, fast, fast. Ball hard on the court, boy. Ball hard on the court. Switch it up, pass, pass. Cross 'em up, fast. MJ with the ball, temp fade. Been made since the old days, so paid. LJ calling King James. 6 range, ball hard.
Eric Name, The Athletic. George, I know all year long, Bud has been asking for aggressive George, that's what he wants. Just how big is it for you to have a night like this where you go out and are able to contribute in that way?
I don't know. I try to do my job, the best I can. And, if that's playing defense hard as I can, or if that's taking the opportunity to score when I can do that. But it's all about just winning the game, no matter what happens, no matter how many I score or what I do. I just want to win.
Giannis, Mark James, Nesson, WEI here in Boston. Question, after game 1, you guys have made the adjustments in game 2 and tonight. Have you guys figured out what the Celtics have done? And do you sort of feel like now that the momentum has swung back to you guys, you've taken control of the series again?
Yeah, we made some adjustment after game 1. But I think most important, we played hard going to game 2 and game 3. We just got to keep playing good basketball, keep defending, and just keep believing in ourselves. I think if we do that and we just trust one another, we're going to get control of this series.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Giannis, just in terms of the aggressive play and the physicality, just what was your approach to trying to get to the line when the crowd is, obviously objecting to the calls, and you're at the line and you have to, make those shots?
I'm just going to keep being aggressive. That's what my teammates want me to do. I've said that in the past. That's what I'm going to keep doing. I love getting to the free throw line. I've worked on it. I'm shooting my free throws with confidence, so it's easy points for me and my teammates. I'm just going to keep being aggressive and keep making the right plays, and sometimes if I got to take it all the way, I got to take it all the way. And I really do not focus in the crowd. Yeah.
Nicole Yang with the Boston Globe. George, Pat mentioned that the two of you like to talk about a bench mob mentality. How do you define that?
I mean, that's just, our starter's been good all year long. And when I got here, one of the things that we had to do was give them breaks. And, by saying that is we have to go in and change the game. Either, we take the score up or keep it the same. And that's going to be energy and effort. And that's something I think, as a group, all our take pride in that. We take pride in going in, trying to change the game, give our starters periods of time where they can get rest because we know they play extended minutes and things like that. But that's just, giving coach confidence in us and giving our teammates confidence in us when we're in the game to do the right thing.
Mike Petralia, CLNS Media here in Boston. Giannis and Chris, both. What do you remember about last year, and how much did that, losing the games here in Boston, how much did that motivate you guys to maybe kind of prove a point here tonight in Game 3?
I mean, really all I remember about is just losing that series. I mean, and I don't think this year we came in to prove a point. It's different seasons with different teams, so we were playing well. We were playing well on the road all year long, so I mean, we're not worried about who we're playing against. Really, it's about us to win games in advance. So, I mean, we forgot about last year, moved on from it.
Same.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. In the fourth quarter, you guys had a big lead, sort of any or all of you. They cut that lead down by getting to the foul line repeatedly. How much was that them pushing through the door, and how much of that was you guys holding the door open, and what was your level of concern in those final minutes?
You want, Chris?
I mean, I think it was half and half. I mean, they did a great job of, forcing the issue some. We just got to do a better job of playing without fouling. I mean, I think we had lapses a little bit between the quarters or whatever, but for the most part, I think we played a full 48 of our basketball.
Eric named The Athletic. Giannis, Brad in his postgame circled a play where you were coming down in transition and kicked it to George for the corner three in the third quarter is kind of the play that defined what you were able to find that balance. Just how big was that tonight to impressive, but then also have a night where you have as many assists as you do?
It's amazing. I think the whole team was ready. The whole team was mentally, physically ready. And at the end of the day, I'm going to keep making plays. I'm going to keep being aggressive, and my team has got to be ready to shoot. And today they've been knocking down shots, and going to game 2, my approach towards the game had to change. So I told my teammates that they got to be ready to shoot because they were double teaming me. They were building a wall, so I had to make the right pass. And going on to this series, that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to keep making the right pass. I think the bench did a great job just coming in, being aggressive. They had 40, what is this? Let me see, 21, 14, 40-something points. It's amazing. It's amazing when these guys can come into the game, step up, knock down big shots. And we're just going to keep trusting one another. We're going to keep playing good basketball, and that's going to put us in position that we can win games.
Jared Weiss, also the Athletic. Giannis, in game 1, they were over here. They were really trying to load up high and force you to go left down the seam and then kind of play with the baseline wall. It seems that you've been able to find different angles to attack and kind of cut them up. What has been your approach as far as trying to attack from different parts of the court where you feel like you can kind of get in between the way that they load up on you?
My approach, as I said before, it's changed a little bit. That I'm trying to find my teammates first. But I think Coach Bad have done a great job just putting me in different spots on the floor that it's hard for them to double team, it's hard for them to build a wall. But at the end of the day, the only way you can break that wall and you can stop them from, double teaming or sending the second guy is when you pass the ball, when you find the open guy. I think that's what I've done 2 games now, and that's where we've hurt them the most.
We have time for 2 more, Matt, and then last one in Greek.
Yeah, Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. George, you spent a lot of time in this series on Kyrie Irving. You spent a lot of time on him in the past. Just how much has that past experience guarding him helped prepare you for this situation?
I mean, it's big. You have familiarity with guys and things like that, but it's nothing that I'm doing. It's a team game, and I'm just out there doing the initial stop. And Giannis and Chris and guys like Brooke, Bled, all those guys, our whole team is sacrificing themselves to be in the right spot to help and make it look crowded. But like you said, it starts on the ball, but it's a team game, and it's nothing that I'm doing by myself. It's everyone else that's in their gaps, contesting from behind, making it tough. And anytime you got a guy like that and you can build walls and you got the other 4 guys on the court making it tough and making it look crowded, I think they're doing the best job, making my job easier.
Αντώνης Καλκαβούρας από την Ελλάδα και το Gazeta.gr. Γιάννη, 2 ερωτήσεις θέλω να σου κάνω. Η πρώτη έχει να κάνει με κάποιες δηλώσεις που είχες κάνει αμέσως μετά το Game 1. Όταν κάποιος ερώτησε ότι χάσατε το πλεονέκτημα της έδρας, απάντησες ότι το πλεονέκτημα της έδρας δεν το χάσαμε επειδή χάσαμε ένα παιχνίδι στην έδρα μας. Έχουμε ακόμα άλλα 6-5 όσα παιχνίδια έχουμε μπροστά μας και στην τελική ανάλυση δεν είναι το τελευταίο το επόμενο. Πίστευες γενικότερα ότι η ομάδα γενικώς θα έχει μια τελείως διαφορετική προσέγγιση από παιχνίδι σε παιχνίδι, το ένα, και το δεύτερο, εάν και εφόσον η Βοστόνη είναι ένα από τα αγαπημένα σου γήπεδα. Ξέρω ότι δεν σ' αρέσει να αναφέρεις κάτι τέτοιο, απλά γενικότερα έχω προσέξει ότι σε αυτό εδώ το γήπεδο, όπως λέγαμε και πιο πριν, τα τελευταία 9 παιχνίδια έχεις 31 πόντους, 10 rebound και 6 assist μεσόωρο.
Was that a question or
y'all talking about something?
Σίγουρα πιστεύω ότι από το πρώτο παιχνίδι και Στο δεύτερο παιχνίδι άλλαξε η προσέγγιση μας και ήξερα ότι θα βγούμε, θα παίξουμε έτοιμοι πνευματικά και σωματικά. Άμα είναι αυτό το αγαπημένο μου γήπεδο, δεν ξέρω, αλλά ξέρω ότι μου αρέσει να παίζω εδώ μέσα. Και μου αρέσει όταν κερδίζει η ομάδα εδώ μέσα, γιατί η τελευταία φορά που κερδίσαμε εδώ μέσα ήταν στη regular season και δεν κερδίσαμε πέρσι στα play-off. Δεν έχει σημασία πόσο σκοράρω ή απλώς μου αρέσει να κερδίζω εδώ μέσα. Δηλαδή όταν κερδίζει μέσα στη Βοστόνη είναι ωραίο το συναίσθημα.
Thank you, everybody.